I've finished playing Horzion Zero Dawn, the main storyline. I haven't got into the DLC yet, but let's talk about the things I did like about the original game. Now when I think about Horzion Zero Dawn, the first thing that comes to mind is IP. There is not enough games that world build to this level. I mean, there are, but there's not enough games that really nail it. What I love about this is it takes a situation and really throws you into it perfectly. It's not too over the top in the way that it explains it to you. The pacing on this game and story and the level of depth behind the lore that we explore as Aloy is incredible. Aloy is the perfect choice for this game because they put her in at the right level. We know as much as she knows, and more that we learn throughout it is the more that we get our minds blown. Now, there's a lot of other games that have great storytelling, but this game, for such an open world game where you could easily get that story quite lost, does a perfect way of telling you that story, not only with the direct dialogue and exposition that we get throughout the game, but everything around us tells that story perfectly. And yes, I'm sure there's a lot of people that class other games as their favorite game on the PlayStation, but honestly, as far as a story goes out of the PlayStation exclusives, for me, this one really takes that top tier level above all. You've got to think about it for a second. The entirety of this story and this world and everything that they've built could be really difficult to deliver, but Horzion Zero Dawn hits it with just about the right amount of pacing, despite it being in an open world, that you actually go along and really discover things at the right time, and it hits on each level. Not only does it hit on an emotional level, but it hits in a reality sense as well. You start to think like, oh shit, how did we get to this point? And it works and just moving you along at the right place, like a gentle tap on the back in the right direction, almost like Rost just being there with his arm on your shoulder saying, go forward Aloy and discover your truth. I love it. First things first though, that intro sequence that we learn about her past as a child and how we get to her growing up, oh my god, that's probably like the best montage I've seen in a game just ever. Like, it's so inspirational and it brings you straight up to exactly where we need to be. And I honestly, I was so ready to go. Let's just cut in a clip of me watching it in the stream. Woo! And there it is, baby. I was pumped. Now, as I'm saying, what this game delivers on is not only telling the story through the main exposition, but everything around us. You know, first things first, you're like, there's big old dinosaur robots in this. This is pretty cool, but how did we get here? Everybody in this world is somehow dressed up like sort of Vikings and ancient Mayans and so on and so forth, and everything seems so primitive, yet at the same time, we're surrounded and wrapped in this level of technology that's far beyond anything we have seen in modern day. It works so well at making you ask these questions and wanting to get to the point, and it does it perfectly. I was ready to kill every robot I saw, but after I found out that the robots are actually, you know, rebuilding the world and such, I'm like, maybe I feel bad for killing them. Maybe they were right for trying to wipe me out. Maybe we are the virus, you know? But what worked so well was the level in which they delivered it to you. I cannot express that enough. The pacing on this game, for being an open world game as well, there's so much distraction that you can get lost in, but at the same time, if you stick to the story, it really does a beautiful job of getting it all across without it being too much. Like, there's a lot of little things in there that could really overwhelm you. There's so much data points and little audio messages you need to listen to get the bigger picture. But as far as the way that everything is delivered in the cutscenes and the main missions that you do, they do it at a very explanatory pace. And that's something that I cannot tell you is completely overlooked in a lot of games these days. But you know what? They nailed it. I hope people that are currently just getting towards the end of this game in their PC run can really understand just how much they've put love and time into making sure this story, which deserves to be understood completely and deserves to be delivered, has been given, because they did it so well. If you tell me there's a game with robot dinosaurs in it, I'm in. I'm completely in. If you then go ahead and tell me we got future techno Vikings in the mix as well, I'm already sold. But I have to see the game first before I know if it's going to be good or not. Psh, did they or did they not nail everything? It looks gorgeous. It looks so good. Photo mode is my favorite photo mode that's ever been delivered so far. Honestly, the fact that you can do poses just makes it mean you will sit in there and have so much fun with what you can actually do. But on top of the fact of that, you've actually got this great environment. Taking America and flipping it into this dystopian post-apocalyptic future that looks nothing like America currently was such a great move, and I honestly cannot wait to see what they do with the next game. Look, I'm aware a lot of my reviews are like, I love it, I love it, I love it. The voice acting was completely spot on, but there was a little point in time sometimes where it sounds like, you know, some of the extra voices, they just got a guy in a studio, and that's fair enough. Yes, as well, the facial expressions in some of the characters in the cutscenes doesn't really deliver the level of emotion that they needed to go for, but you know what? When we exist in a world where Naughty Dog are straight up mo-capping everything, it's easy to get spoiled, you know? Overall, most of the time, it delivered and the voice acting carried through those emotions pretty goddamn well. I hope moving in to the second one, we really get a little bit more on that front, but I'm not going to fault it on that. All of the gadgets work really, really well, but you know what? The hand-to-hand kind of combat with the spear, I know it's meant to be like used as a last resort, but sometimes it don't be hitting right. I hope that they iron that out for the sequel. And with that being said, the AI on the humans themselves is a little bit sketchy, you know? They're a little bit too easy to fight even when they're higher level, and especially when you got to go up and you want to slash and hack people. It's not the best, but it delivers, you know? It delivers. So I'm not too mad at that. The only other thing that I would personally change moving forward is while they've got a great system for climbing up certain things, I think in a world that's that massively open, we would all like to see a little bit more parkour abilities around a lot of the map if they're going for that in the second game, which they should do. You know, I think all of those things I've just mentioned, they can really iron them out and get them spot on for the next game. Those few things alone are not enough for me to be like, psh, the game's trash, you know, because it's not. It's really not. And it's not enough for me to be pulled out of the game at any point in time, you know? There is so much fun things that they use the focus for, or that they use the gadgets for, as I explained. The ability to use the stealth works really well, and the ability to use the jump to kind of parkour your way up most things anyway can be quite satisfying. There was a couple times where I needed to farm some slightly bigger, more dangerous animals, and I used the terrain to my advantage quite easily. I think that's a very, very good thing. The array of different weapons as well, the array of different arrows that you can use on your bows work really well, and the way that different robots are susceptible to different things means you really change up the combat. I understand that if you're playing this game 24 hours, 7 days a week, you might get a little bit bored and think it's a bit repetitive, but guess what? You're not meant to fight all the robots. I really wanted to fight all the robots, but you don't have to. You can play this game your way, and I think that is something that works really, really well. I think it's something that is a big credit to how they put this game together, because guess what? There's a lot of open world games these days where they still just have slotted in missions that you have to just play how they wanted you to play, but the beauty of Horzion Zero Dawn is they allow you to tackle it whichever way you want. And yeah, you may end up getting killed, but guess what? That's your fault for trying that stupid method, you know? You can go sneaky if you want to go sneaky. You can go guns blazing if you want to go guns blazing. And if you really, really want to go in like a madman, you can try and attack every single thing with your axe, spear thing, whatever it's called, you know? You can get in there and hack and slash as much as you want, or you can be tactical. You can hit them in the weak spots and take them out. You can use the elements of your weapons against them to your advantage, or you can even control some of those robots and have them fight for you. There's a lot going on with when it comes to tackling the combat, which is good because you're surrounded by robots left, right and center, so you want to flip it up and change it every so often, you know? There is a lot to praise about this game. The fast travel system works seamlessly. It helps you get around the map. It especially helps you for when you want to go farming, and there's not much I can complain about that. What I really did like about this game as well is, as big and open as the world is, and as much characters as we do meet along the way, this is still very much Aloy's story. Overall, everything is through her perspective, and I think that keeps it nice and grounded. That's what keeps you so close to the story, despite getting distracted and going out and doing whatever the hell you want sometimes, you know? I think it was a very good choice to do. everyone we meet in this game, it's like I said about The Last of Us, we get to know enough about them that we understand who they are, but we know no more than Aloy knows. And that's something that's very important to do when you're trying to really build a character. You know, you want to put the user in that person's footsteps, and that only works when you get to know enough of a character without all this extra. There's no like super big backstory just for no random reason or anything like that. You know, if you want to ask questions and find out, you can. I really like the choice system when it comes to the dialogue, because it lets you feel like you're in control yet again. All of these things really bring you back in to feel like you're playing your game. Despite it being so open, you can still choose the path along it, and that is very important for an open world game. Like I said, it doesn't force you to do anything against the way that you want to do it. It allows you those choices, and you can get burnt for them, or it may pay off, you know. There was a couple times where I just ran to the objective and dodged out of the way of some big robots because I didn't want to fight him. I got inside to safety, I was all good, you know. There was other times where I literally stood and fought everything in my pathway. Both is fine. You didn't have to sneak if you didn't want to. You can take it down. You want to get stronger? Go out and farm. Go out and get stronger. The RPG elements in it work perfectly. There is so much that I can praise this game about, but I'm just going to end it with this. Aloy's theme is one of the best gaming themes I heard in a while, man. Honestly, that I heard in a while. Like, it works so well. So that's the recap, right? The music's perfect. The mechanics work perfectly. Yes, there's a little bit of clunkiness, but they can iron that out in the second game, and it doesn't take you out of the game at all. If you feel this game is too repetitive, go and do something else. There's a lot of options to do something else. There's a lot of challenges hidden within this game that you can go and do. If it's getting too repetitive, you're playing the game too much in one style, and you need to flip it up and learn to adapt and stuff. You know, voice acting on point, facial expressions, not so much in certain cases, but not enough to pull you out of it, you know? Yet again, everything about this game generally works really well, and I really, yet again, seem to understand why people hold PlayStation exclusives at such a high level. This is a game that I think is not held in a high enough regard compared to a lot of other games, just based on one thing. The story in this game is better than any other story that I've come across. You can have your Last of Us and you can have your God of Wars and your whatever else, right? But this is an incredible attempt at telling you such a big, wide story and history, and they do not miss the mark at all. At all. So there we go. You know, other than that, enjoy your day, take care of each other, look out for each other, stay hydrated, and everything else I say, take a cigar on your way out, like, share, and subscribe if you want to. It is what it is. Man, play that Aloy theme again.